Welcome, history explorers and curious travelers, to a journey back in time. Imagine standing on the banks of the Saigon River, not amidst the towering skyscrapers of District 1 or the neon-lit streets of District 3, but in a vast, untamed wilderness. The year is 1698. Surrounding you are dense mangrove forests, marshy plains, and the distant roars of wild tigers. For centuries, this region, known historically as Prey Nokor, was a quiet, swampy frontier. It was a place where crocodiles ruled the brackish waterways, and the humid air was thick with the scent of wild orchids and mud. A few scattered communities of indigenous peoples, Khmer fishermen, and early Vietnamese settlers lived in small pockets along the rivers, but there was no formal state presence. It was a wild, uncharted borderland. Yet, this untamed territory was about to become the stage for a grand political transition. To understand why this remote wilderness suddenly became so vital, we must look north to the shifting geopolitical sands of 17th century Vietnam. For decades, the nation had been violently split in two, divided by the Giang River in modern-day Quang Binh province. North of this river, the Trinh lords held sway, claiming allegiance to the nominal Le Emperors, while south of the river, the Nguyen lords governed the territory known as Dang Trong. Between 1627 and 1672, these two rival dynasties fought 7 brutal, bloody, and ultimately indecisive wars. Though a fragile, tense truce had finally settled over the land, the air remained thick with mutual suspicion and military readiness. Trapped in a narrow coastal corridor, squeezed between the formidable Trinh armies to the north and the vast East Sea to the east, the Nguyen lords faced an existential crisis. They had no room to retreat and desperately needed strategic depth. To survive, they had to look south. They required vast, fertile agricultural land to feed a growing population displaced by war. And they needed access to international trade routes to replenish their treasury and buy modern artillery. When Lord Nguyen Phuc Chu, a forward-thinking and ambitious ruler, ascended the throne in the late 17th century, he saw the immense potential of the southern frontier. He understood that the loose, informal settlements along the Dong Nai and Saigon rivers could no longer remain a lawless borderland. To secure this region against potential Siamese or Cambodian incursions, and to formally anchor it to the Nguyen realm, he had to establish legal sovereignty, organize the population, and build a functioning administration. To turn this strategic vision into reality, Lord Nguyen Phuc Chu turned to his most trusted and brilliant general, Nguyen Hu Chan. Born into a legendary military family in Quang Binh province, Nguyen Hu Chan was the son of the famous commander Nguyen Hu Dat. He grew up studying military tactics, martial arts, and statecraft. He was not just a warrior who could swing a sword or lead cavalry. He was a diplomat and an administrator of extraordinary vision. Nguyen Hu Chan possessed a rare combination of tactical intelligence and administrative patience. Recognizing his unique talents, the Lord appointed him as the commissioner of the Southern Expedition in 1698. His mission was clear yet daunting: to march south, establish formal administrative sovereignty, organize the diverse local populations, and construct the legal framework that would permanently bind this frontier to the Nguyen realm. Upon arriving in the southern territories in the spring of 1698, Nguyen Hu Chan wasted no time. He set up his headquarters at Gia Dinh Palace, a site very close to modern-day Saigon. With a keen eye for geography and administrative efficiency, he officially established the prefecture of Gia Dinh. He did not simply plant a flag, he built a government from the ground up. He divided the vast region into two primary districts. First was Phuoc Long District, centered around the Dong Nai River, and second was Tan Binh District, which encompassed the heart of what is now Ho Chi Minh City. Nguyen Hu Chan established magistrates, tax offices, and military garrisons to enforce the rule of law. Most importantly, he ordered extensive land surveys. Clerks measured the wild fields, mapped the rivers, and registered arable land. They created formal tax registries, transforming the chaotic frontier into structured agricultural communities. To populate these new districts, the government encouraged thousands of families from the war-torn northern provinces to migrate south, offering them land, seeds, and security. By giving people a legal stake in the land, Nguyen Hu Khan turned a wild marshland into a highly organized, productive agrarian economy. One of the general's most lasting achievements was his progressive policy toward ethnic integration. The southern frontier was a cultural mosaic. Fleeing the collapse of the Ming Dynasty in China, thousands of Chinese refugees and merchants had arrived in the region. Rather than marginalizing these newcomers, Nguyen Hu Khan recognized their economic value and integrated them into the local administration. He established the Tan Ha Commune in Bien Hoa for the Chinese settlers near the Dong Nai River, and the Min Huang Commune in Gia Dinh for those living near the Saigon River. These communes allowed the Chinese communities to preserve their cultural traditions, build ancestral temples, and govern their internal affairs, while still operating under the ultimate authority and legal protection of the Nguyen lords. This inclusive policy created an exceptionally favorable environment for commerce, transforming the river ports of Gia Dinh into bustling international marketplaces. The air at the waterfront grew thick with the rich aromas of the trade. The sharp scent of star anise, cinnamon, and black pepper mingling with the smells of drying fish, damp river clay, and freshly sawn tropical timber. Along the waterways, the sight was dizzying. Massive, multi-decked Chinese junks with their distinctive ribbed sails jostled for space alongside sleek, low-slung Vietnamese rowboats and large, deep-hulled European merchant vessels flying Dutch, Portuguese, or English flags. The sounds of bargaining echoed in a chaotic symphony of Hokkien, Cantonese, Portuguese, and Vietnamese, punctuated by the clatter of wooden crates and the clink of copper coins. From the Chinese ships, merchants unloaded crates of delicate blue and white porcelain, rolls of heavy silk embroidery, compact tea bricks, and medicinal herbs, eager to exchange them for the region's high-quality rice, dried birds' nests, and valuable eaglewood. Meanwhile, European traders sought raw silk and forest products, offering in return Western copper, firearms, sulfur, and lead to fuel the Nguyen military machine, the vibrant, multicultural fabric that defines modern Saigon today. With its diverse architecture, Chinese pagodas, Buddhist temples, and rich culinary fusion, was directly fostered by these 17th century policies of tolerance and economic openness. Saigon was born not as an isolated military outpost, but as a global hub of trade and coexistence. Although General Nguyen Hu Kang passed away in 1700, just 2 years after his historic expedition, the foundation he laid proved indestructible. His administrative structures withstood the tests of time, civil war, and foreign interventions over the centuries. Today, he is revered not just as a military leader, but as the foundational architect of southern Vietnam. Shrines dedicated to his memory dot the landscape from central Vietnam to the deep Mekong Delta, where locals worship him as a guardian deity. His true monument, however, is the very city of Saigon itself. When you walk the bustling streets of modern Ho Chi Minh City, you are walking along the very administrative boundaries he drew in 1698. The invisible lines laid down by a single general's brush over 3 centuries ago still shape the flow of traffic, commerce, and life in Vietnam's greatest metropolis, reminding us that the modern future of this city was anchored in the vision of its historic past.